Hi, Tefl-Dude here, and today I'm going to show you on Moodle Quiz for Beginners how to make a gap fill quiz, a drop-down quiz, a drag and drop quiz, a radio button quiz, and a listening quiz. Now here you can see I've made a PDF that you can download and look at after you've watched the video to remind you of some of the steps we did. This page is just to highlight the reading quiz, which I haven't incorporated into this lesson because I'm going to save it for a special lesson. As you can see, it's a bit long here, but I've managed to figure out a way to make it dual paged. And you could even incorporate that into some of the quizzes we're going to learn today. Now that's for the next video. For this video, we're going to focus on the two aspects. First, you have to create a quiz block area. That takes about 5 minutes. Once you've done that, then we're getting into the meat. We're going to add the questions, the gap fill, the drop down, the radio, the drag and drop, the listening. All of that's going to be done. And you may notice I'm going to be showing you how to do this both on my university Moodle and on my personal Moodle on the right hand side, which is a Moodle cloud. After showing you how to create the first one, I will be just focusing on the Moodle cloud for the rest of them because the settings are exactly the same, but perhaps people at the university are not sure where to go in the first instant. So let's begin by going into both websites and creating a quiz block area. So here I am in both areas. Now I'm just going to log in, first of all, in both of my sites. And in my university, I click onto the Moodle. And I need to find the class where I'm going to put the test. And here, in this area where the class is, and on this side I'll jump into the intermediate, there is a difference. Here I've got topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, whereas here you have Temat 1, Temat 2, Temat 3. But here in the university, there is a place for the exams. Now, I haven't created such a place on my Moodle, so I'm just going to put the test in topic 1. Now, in order to put the test on both of them, we have to put the editing on. So I'm going to turn editing on both of these sites. And straight away, you can see I can add an activity or resource. So I'm going to add a quiz here. There are many activities, as you can see here. I'm going to add a quiz. And then I'm going to name the quiz, which I have to do. And the same on here. Now here it says topic, and I can change the topic name to exam 1. But you must press enter, otherwise it won't change it. And now I'm going to add the quiz. And also use the same title. So as you can see, both of them are exactly the same. The timing, the layout, the questions, all of that happens to both of them. Now, in the timing, we're going to say it's for this morning at, let's say, 9 o'clock. And because, let's say I've got 3 classes, I'm going to finish it at maybe 2 o'clock. So while the test can be done between these hours, they must spend 60 minutes doing the test. If they spend longer, it will cut them off. So they have to do it within 60 minutes once they start. Now, as the teacher, I can force them all to start when we start the class. And the same on the other side. You just go to the timings, you click the timing, and you decide it's 9 o'clock till 14. Enable 60 minutes. As you can see, everything is the same on both sets. The grade is next, I normally give them 2 attempts allowed. On my Moodle site, I'm going to leave the grade unlimited because I might want people to visit. No, let's say 2. I'll make it 2. Now the next is the layout, and I can show more, and I can say they can navigate freely. If you put sequential, it means they have to go in order and they cannot take a step back. So I would prefer free, and here you've got 2 attempts. You could just allow 1, but remember that if the internet gives out for them, that's their attempt done. So I give them 2 attempts in case there's a break in their internet or their computer dies. Good to give them a second attempt. Now the layout here as well, show more. I would leave it at free. Question behavior, you don't need to say anything there. The only thing I would do is the review options, where I would untick these so that they cannot see the answers until the end of the time of the quiz, which is 2 o'clock. So then they can go back and see the answers. But until then, all they will see is their marks. So I'll do that for mine as well. Question behavior is fine. Review options, they only see it when they've finished. And the rest doesn't really matter. Appearance doesn't matter. Just save and return to the course. So go back in the exam part. And there you can see our test is here and our test is here. And the same thing will happen when we click on both of them. We'll be asked to create questions. So that's the end of part 1, where we have created an area or block for the quiz. So let's add the questions to our quiz. Simply click on the quiz we made earlier and go to edit the quiz. Here you simply click on add. You have a choice of adding from a question bank. These might be quizzes you made earlier, but we're going to add a new question. And here in these choices, I'll do the same on the other side. Add new question. You can see they're very similar. And here you've got many choices of the activities we're going to do. However, if you look at the document, we're going to focus primarily on the embedded answers, and we use this to replace all of the other types of quizzes like the multiple choice, selecting missing words, short answer. If you go through the bottom route, you will only be able to do 1 question at a time, and it's very laborious and you just wouldn't do it. By using this embedded route, we can add 10 questions, 100 questions in one go. So this is the way we're going to do it. What I mean by that is, with the embedded close, we can add a multiple choice. We can add a short answer just by putting the right code in. So let's move on and click on the embedded close for both of them. And once again, you can see here the layout. On the right hand side though, you will have to click this button if you wanted to do any other additional editing. Also make note of where this exam is going to be. For me, it's going to be in this in-text, which already has 15 questions. Now I'd like to make it into this new area, default for vocab, grammar and listening. So there's no questions in this particular quiz, and the same over here. Click on this arrow and make sure you save it in the area where we made the quiz earlier. So it's fresh, there's no questions in this quiz block, we're going to add them. Now for our first quiz, we're going to simply copy the information from a document, paste it into Notepad, and then transfer the edited version into the Moodle. The key to this is in the code. As you can see here, what we have to do, we have to surround each of the answers with this code. We use the curly brackets, open, and then you put the number of points you want. Then we write whether it's a short answer or if it's going to be multi-choice, like a drop-down menu, or multi-choice with vertical radio buttons or horizontal buttons. These buttons can then be shuffled, as we'll see in the following quizzes. However, we're going to focus on short answer, and if you put a capital C, then it means the cases must match, as it says here. But I usually omit the C so that if they do or don't write a capital, it's the answer that's important. So, going back to the code, after the colon, there must be no spaces between the codes. After the colon, you write equal sign if it's the right answer, or 100%. And you'll see throughout the quizzes that I kind of mix and match. Sometimes I write 100%, sometimes I write equal. It doesn't matter. If you don't write equal straight after the colon, it means it's the wrong answer. So what we're doing is, for this one, as it's short answer, every sentence we put in is the one that's only the right answer. Here you can see there are two right answers, and you have to divide answers by this tilde. So later when we have a choice of 4 and one of them is only the right answer, the other answers will have a tilde and it will show that they're the wrong choice. Then you simply close the bracket. So let's move over to the document. I'm going to show you how I transfer the document questions into the notepad ready to be transferred into the quiz. So here's our document and here's a PDF version. And I'm showing you this because I want you to get used to using only PDF documents, and I'll show you why. If I was to copy this quiz into the document, remember Control-C and Control-V are going to be the workhorses that help you do things quickly. Control-C is copy, Control-V is paste. So I've just done Control-C, now Control-V. And you'll see that we have these gaps, which, I'd have to edit every one, which can be laborious. Now, if we copy the PDF version, Control-C, Control-V, you'll notice it works a lot better. Okay, there's no dots, we don't need that. However, we do have all the text with only one gap between each word. Here, sometimes you might have 2 gaps or 3 gaps. So this looks neater. We're going to be using this from now on. Now, if you only have a Word document, remember you can easily convert it to PDF by just save as Adobe PDF, or when you go to save as, simply drop down where it says PDF and save, and then it's done for you. So from now on, we're going to be only using the PDF version. So let's close this out. And here I've pasted the questions. Now I need the answers. So here I have another document with the answers, and I'm simply going to highlight the answers, Control-C, Control-V. Now, it may be that some of the answers are not in the right line. For instance, this one has 2 answers, so make sure that's down there. This one also has 2 answers, as does this. So now there's my 10 answers from numbers 2 to 11. So the first one says, what eat you usually for lunch? Now, this is where there are going to be 2 answers, as you can see on the left. It says, what eat usually. Now I want it to be one answer because I don't want to give 2 points. for one question. So we just put you usually copy, in fact I'll press copy X, which cuts it, and paste it in here. So now I want this to be in the answer. Do you usually eat? So that's that corrected anyway. The rest of them are okay. What I have to do for each of them, after this bracket, I have to put in this answer. So I'm just going to copy this information already made. And in front of each one, I just do copy paste. You can see how quick and easy it is. Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. And now we're almost done. All I have to do is make sure that at the end I have the close bracket. Now that one's too far, so make sure it's there. Close bracket, close bracket. If there's a gap like this, just close it off. So don't have a gap like this, because if you did this, then that space would need to be in the answer. So we don't want that. Close bracket, close bracket, close bracket. And now all we have to do is put the equal sign. Equals. Now some of these have two options for an answer. So this one is also correct. If you have two answers, they need to be divided by what's called a tilde, which is this. And then you have to have percent, 100%. Or I could have put in another equals. But I prefer doing it this way. I think the percent is more true and works 100% of the time. Hence it's called 100%. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it into here. So as you can see, anything with the line between them, the slash, means there's two answers available. So I'm just going to copy that. And so now we have our quiz ready. I just have to simply copy and paste these after the particular sentences. And this one has been completed. So instead of me, copying all this and pasting it, it's already done here. So let's simply copy this text, paste it into our Moodle quiz. Copy. Going back to our quiz. And I'm simply going to paste it in both quizzes. Now we do have to name the quiz. So I'm simply going to name it present simple, present continuous. And we simply click, well, I'll do the one on the university side. We simply click Save Changes at the bottom. Now, all we have to do then is click on this icon Preview, and there you can see the quiz previewed. And we simply write in the answers. We can check by clicking this button, and we can read through it and check that the answers are good. However, notice that each of the answers, like number 9, he usually leaves. Well, they might think, you know what, I think this is leaves, not is leaving, because it's, notice the continuous verbs tend to be in bigger boxes than the present simple verbs. So you might think, oh, okay, that gives them a clue. So why don't we make all the boxes the same size? Very simple trick to do this. All we have to do is click on this cog, go back to editing it, and simply click on this HTML icon. Don't worry about what you see. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to paste in a code. And the code we're going to paste in is here at the top. And I'll put this in the description below. You simply copy this, paste it, and then at the bottom, go Save Changes, and this time we'll press Continue Editing. Here you can see, click on the preview, And now when we look at this box, you can see that all the boxes are the same size. So I'm going to do the same for my quiz on this side. So make sure you click on this arrow, click on the HTML, do a space, and paste it there. Decode and verify the questions. And there's all the questions and the answers. If you look at each one, you can see it tells you how many points. And I'm going to save the changes. Now I'm going to click on preview. And on my Moodle quiz, it looks much clearer. So here you can see clearly all the boxes are the same size. So that's the first quiz completed. Now, simply to add another quiz, we go to add new question, and our next one is also going to be embedded. So we'll add that and get it prepared. And the same on here. However, now that I've shown you how to do one, we don't need to constantly do it on both sites anymore. This is enough for the people at my university to be getting on with. And later, you'll notice that when we save the quiz, how to do it. I will come back to the university part where once we've saved the quiz, when the students do the quiz, you'll see how I can see which students got what mark. But we'll do that at the very end. So let's complete this quiz and we'll come back to the university later. So now, as promised, I'm going to pan this out so it's the same size. In quiz 2, where we're going to add this drop-down multiple choice shuffle, let's copy the information over and notice here the only difference is instead of SA for short answer, we're going to put MCS. That's multiple choice but shuffled. And as you can see, we've got this tilde between the answers. So let's go over to our text document. Now, as you can see, I obviously pasted this in with the Word version. So let's get rid of this. Well, rather, let's show you how much better it is with the PDF version. Do that properly. Copy, paste. You see, much better. So we don't need this version. And all we're simply going to do is each of these answers are going to be in this format of this is going to be at the beginning, then we have the answer, then a tilde between each of the answers. Now, one of these is the right answer. This doesn't have a tilde. It's the wrong answer because it doesn't have anything. So it doesn't need a tilde because it's the first answer. Everything else needs a tilde. This is the basis of what I'm going to do. So I simply copy and paste them into each answer area. And then later, I will go through them and see, like I've done here, okay, this was the right answer, the first one. So I just put an equal sign there. If one of these is the right answer, I just put an equal sign there. So as we can guess, these are the real answers. So first one was A, the second one was C, and the third one was, where's the equal sign? B. So ACB, all I simply do is go number 1, A equals, number 2 was B, C actually, equals after the tilde, and number 3 was B. And that's it. That is the quiz done. It's that quick. So let's just quickly highlight this, copy it. Now notice on this one, it just says MC. There's no MCS. So let's just do MC and see what happens. MC We'll put in its, what's the name of the quiz? Maybe it's at the top. The name of the quiz is, yes. Let's make sure we include the instructions. Actually, it's to do with things going up and down. So I'll just put statistics. Call it statistics. And then we click decode and verify. You must do this. And then we can check save changes. We might want to stay on this page. And we can scroll down and click preview. And you can see in the preview that the answers are A, B, C, D. The next one, A, B, C, D. And if you like it that way, that's fine. But we can simply change it by adding an S to each of these answers. And probably the quickest way to do that is just to do what I'd like to do is a little quicker. So I'll do this, copy, and if you go edit and replace, you can see it wants to replace this, and I'll replace it with, make sure there's no gap at the beginning or at the end, and I'll just put in MCS, replace all, and there they're done. And now I'll simply copy all of this and then just get rid of that and paste the new code in. Decode and verify. And then if I save changes, preview, you can see that the drop down now starts B, CBA. The next one is CAD. So they're all different. This one is actually ABDC. So that is how it's done. That's our second quiz completed. So let's save the changes. And there you have 2 quizzes ready to rock and roll. And they will be on different pages. At the moment, this gap between it means they're on different pages. Were I to remove that, it would be in one long continuous page. But I'm going to split it. And as you can see, this one's worth 8 points. This is 10. The maximum grade it says is 10. We need to change that because it says here total marks is 18. So for now, we can change that to 18. Click save. And that would be a quiz ready to do. So now we're going to do this quiz where we show the radio buttons. Once again, copy, paste into the text document. Here is the one that I have prepared already with the code in it. And once again, you need the answers. You have to add the code. For this one, the code is vertical. So this is going to be buttons, MCV. And then you've got the wrong answer, the tilde, and this is the wrong answer. You've got tilde dividing the answer and equals. So let's just copy these into the new quiz. So let's make a new quiz, add, new question bank. And once again, we're using the embedded close. Let's get our new document, copy this, and paste, give it a name, call it verb patterns, copy, say this is quiz 3, verb patterns, and simply decode to verify the text. And you can see that the answer isn't in the text box here because I don't want it to be a drop down. It's going to be buttons. So it has to be on a fresh line. Save changes, continue editing. So I can preview. And there's our quiz with the radio buttons going down. Should you want the radio buttons going across, simply convert the V to a H. Now, I've already done that here. So let's just copy this and replace this text. Now it's got a H, decode and verify always, and save changes and preview. And now you can see the buttons have gone across. So that's how to do the third quiz. Save changes, and we have our third quiz. Now let's go back to our document, and you can see here, in case you need a bit of help with the code, I've written out the code again just to show you how these work. The correct answer, the tilde, etc. The next one, drag and drop, is a new thing. We're no longer using the edit close. We're actually going to use the real drag and drop function. And this is quite fun to do actually. So let's open document number 4. Okay, so here's our document ready to enter. Here are the questions in the PDF. We just simply copy them and paste them here. And as you can see, you do have these gaps. And what we need to do with those gaps is to put in a double bracket, a number, and a closed double bracket. And the numbers have to be in the order of the answer. So the first answer is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. If we look at the answer sheet here, you can see I had helmet, saddle. These are the answers. I had simply paste them in here. Whoops, didn't do that right. I simply make sure you press Control C, then Control V, and you've got them in here. And I just made sure that they were in the right order like this. So all we have to do is replicate this with the number. What I tend to do is get the first one, paste, second one, paste, and carry on like that. Please make sure there is a gap either side of the brackets, otherwise it won't recognize it as the answer place. And copy the questions and everything together. Copy that over and put it into our new quiz. So we're going to add new question. This time, drag and drop into text. That's the one we're going to use. And here, we'll paste our code and give it a name. Complete the sentences with the words. I think it was involved in sport, so we'll call it sport vocab. Okay. And we can't click the end yet because we have to put our answers in here. So what we need to do is get our answers up. Let's put this aside here. Whoops. And here's our answers. And I just simply Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. Now remember, when we get to this part, we need to add more questions. So let's click for 3 more choices. And I believe I have to do this a couple of times because I've got a lot of answers here. And I'm going to continue. Okay, so now we've finished putting our answers in. And remember, the last 4 are actually ones that are not in the answer. Make sure you click this button where it says shuffle, because we are going to shuffle the answers. Otherwise, they'll be in the order they should be. So make sure you click on shuffle. Now, you have a couple of choices. Let's first save the changes, but we'll continue editing. And let's have a look at it in a preview. So here's the preview. And as you can see, because they've been shuffled, I think the rider needs a horse. So, oh, a helmet rather. A helmet, and sits on a saddle. Where's saddle? Saddle, 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 saddle. Or you can fill in correct responses. Notice when you fill in the correct responses, these 4 remaining ones are the ones that are not to be used. Now you could have it, if you wish, that it's unlimited answers. So should you wish to make all of them unlimited, we'll save the changes, scroll down, click preview, and then once we've filled in the correct responses, you can see all of the ones at the bottom are still there. So as soon as you move one, it doesn't change, it's still there. One other thing you can do, you think, well, what's the B for? Well, the B could be for the second answer. If you think this is really difficult and you want to make sure they have the right first answers, you could make all the second answers B. So let's save changes. And let's do a preview. And now you can see that these grey ones only belong in the grey area, and the white ones belong in the white area. So if we fill in the responses, you have the grey with the grey, the white with the white. Makes it easier if it was a difficult question. But obviously we won't do that. We'll just leave them all A. And then we simply add it to our quiz. Now let's move on to the listening. So we're going to add a new question again. This time it's going to be the embedded. We're going back to the embedded close again. And with the listening, you can actually use any number of gap fill, or you could add a drag and drop. You can do a number of things. But for us, we're going to do a true and false radio buttons. So here's our text, and this is going to be our final result. So once again, in order to make sure you divide the question, you just have MCV true, tilde, 100% is false. So it's either going to be false or true. So let's open the text document where that is. Please remember that the audio has to be MP3 and not a WAV file or some other kind of file. So here's the text document. As before, we quickly copy and paste it here. Here's where the answer should go, and here is the type of code that you need. So it has to be 1 point MCV true tilde false, and that's how every answer would be. What I would do is, because there's only true or false, I would copy this, paste it, and cut that and put it at the beginning. Now, any answer that's false, I would paste that in. Any answer that's true, I paste that in. So I know the true ones are 4, 5, 4, 5, and 10, 12. I think that should be 11 actually. 4, 5, 10, 11. They are the true ones. So I just simply get this code, 4, paste, 5, paste, and so on, and then paste the false into the false. So we've already done this. So let me copy the text. Let's include this as well. Copy that. Go back to our Moodle. Let's open it in full. And this one is to be pasted. And I'll just call it number 5, listening. Now I will call it listening, let's say Pavel, I think that's his name, Pavel. You should try to give them different names in order to make sure that should they be in the listening bank, you can locate them easier. If you just called everything listening, 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 you wouldn't be sure what's in it. So I know that this one's about Pavel, so I'll put listening Pavel. And in order to add the audio, you simply highlight. So what I've done here is I've highlighted, I don't know if you could highlight the whole letter, but I've just highlighted the full stop. And then I'm going to link, and it says create a link. I'm going to browse and go to upload a file, browse where my audio is. Here's the audio file. Now, like I say, you can give the audio file a name as well. I'll call it Pavel and upload this. And now, as usual, scroll to the bottom, decode and verify. Simply save the changes and let's preview. So here it is, let's play it.
In this afternoon's program, we're continuing our series of...
Okay, so there's the listening, and obviously you can have fill in the correct responses. So let's check what we've got. We've got our 5 questions. They're all looking good. Okay, so now our quiz is ready to rock and roll. Let's go back to the exam 1 where the quiz is, or intermediate exam. And I'll click on the exam. And now I can make an attempt. It says I have 2 attempts, time limit 1 hour, the highest grade. So I'm going to attempt it now. Please remember that once you've attempted it, you cannot change the quiz or add a question. You can change the quiz a bit, the questions you have, but you cannot add or take away questions. So remember, once I do this, it's over. Should you wish to edit the quiz at any time, go into the quiz and go to Edit Quiz, and that will take you back to this page. So let's go back to our exam, click on the quiz, and now I'm going to attempt it. Start attempt. And then I can write in all the words I want to. And then here I can navigate to the next page. The time is at the top, tells me how long I've got. These I could just do like this. I'll just do random guesses, see what happens. Here, again, I will do... Now I've made this vertical. It looks horrible. Sorry, I've made this horizontal. It looks horrible. We could edit that and change it to vertical if we want. Just click here, edit question. This was question number 3. Here, and we're going to change that back to vertical. So that was question number 3. Let me get that one up. I'll go back to the vertical one, which was this one. Copy. Paste. Decode and verify. Save changes. And now you can see I'm still in the quiz, but now I have everything in order and it's much better. Notice here, I didn't put on shuffle, otherwise ABC would be in a different order, and I might want them to be in the ABC order. So I've done a few answers there. The next quiz, notice they're on a different page as well. This one is on a different page to this one. Should I wish to change that, what I can do is edit the quiz. If I go here and I click Save Changes, oh, it takes me back to the quiz. I would have to go back and edit the quiz. So let's finish this quiz first, and I'll show you what happens. I'm going to finish the attempt and submit and finish. And it tells me that I have grade 2.53 out of 18. So I've got 14% correct. So that's quite nice to know. Now, if I go back to the exam and I want to edit this a bit, click into the quiz. Now you can still edit it by clicking on the cog, edit quiz, and now I can make these two pages together. So what happens there, if I do this exam again, let's click on it. I'm going to reattempt the quiz. And now this time, notice each page, each quiz is on a different page, but 4 and 5 are together. So you can see 4 and 5 are on the same page. So you can do that with any of the quizzes. If you have short quizzes, put them on one page. Much nicer. So I think that's a wrap. So we've learned Moodle Quiz for Beginners. We've added the gap fill, the drop down, the listening. Remember, you can edit it anytime you want. Before you go, I want you to look at the results I had in my university. If I go back to my university source, and here, if we have a look at the exams, this was the first semester test. And as you can see, 44 people attempted it. And this is what the teacher gets to see. So I can see, I'll make this larger actually. I can see the results of all my students. I can see when they started it. When they started, you can look at this straight away and you can see who has started the quiz and who hasn't. So if you want them to start in your class time, you can say, you can let them know on the Teams or whatever you're using, hey, please start the quiz now. Otherwise, I'll mark you as vacant. And here you can see the time they finished, how long it took them. This is good because it gives you an overview of how long this test is. It's always difficult to measure how long it might take a student, but most of these students did it. It was 100 questions in an hour and 5 minutes. So I gave them 80 minutes, which was perfect. Some of them didn't finish. I don't know what happened here, but those are my results. And I didn't have to mark one of them. They were all pre-marked in the quiz. So that's Moodle Quiz for Beginners. Please don't forget that my next video is going to be about reading, adding a reading text like the Cambridge exams, except I'm going to incorporate this dual view, which is perfect when you need to read and see the answers very close to each other. I can't wait till this video is done. I'm going to do it later. Watch out for that video. So don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. I'll see you on the next video.